with expertise in products and service centric to the life science, social media, fintech, hospitality, and other point. So, but we help a lot of different companies. I mean, so in small companies, startups, and early stage companies, or middle company. So, and our company is over 20 years, and we have successfully completed over 1,000 projects, how I sales in different spheres, in different fields: finance, insurance, logistic, retail, and other. So, and it's that's all, maybe.
Okay. Well, thank you. It's nice to know a little bit about you and Dimitri, and hopefully we'll see both of you again on a future event. So Mel, why don't you formally introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Oh, I'm having a great day. This is a crisis day for me. So as of this moment, I am the CEO and owner of Elemental Consulting, which is a strategic, data-driven, strategic financial planning and cash flow analysis consultancy that works with small businesses and individuals. However, my big brainchild that I spent, 24/7 for the last 12 months on is Community Vision Collaborative, which is a urban and community development consultancy that is focused on real estate deals and housing, jobs, things like that. But my focus as I've been titled the COO, but we've determined that really I'm a CFO and a chief strategy officer, not an operations person.
Okay.
Is that as I work on creating the concepts for replicable models, things like how to, right now we have a study starting using some University of Maryland students from the Smith School and from the College of Information Studies to look at Frederick County and how they use online virtual databases as kind of stand-in marketplaces, and how we can create a Main Street marketplace on steroids that can compete with Amazon on a local level. And so a lot of what I built a board of directors that's about 24 strong, and 14 of those are mine, and most of those are mover shakers, young people, Jeffrey from Baltimore, Startup Grind, Sage Harper, Josh Funk, a couple of the University of Maryland folks, and things like that, where my business partner is more politically connected and focused on the DC area. And he had something called Community Vision Partnership a couple of years ago that didn't go anywhere because he was trying to do it by himself. Mm-hmm. But he's very, very well connected with political people, particularly in our new administration. And he is very liberal. He was a big proponent of Bernie Sanders way back and stuff like that. We've worked very hard to keep politics out of our company. Well, he now has this opportunity to drift that way. So my crisis is that it's looking like our partnership, now that we've put a great board together and just introduced themselves to each other, should unravel. We should not be partners. We should be affiliates and not partners, because he is not focused on replicable models that may take some time to build but have real implications. He's more on a social impact political agenda. So I right before I got on this call, I was just sending a note out to one of my really trusted board of advisory members and my son, who's part of our organization, to say, well, how do we unravel this? We've just established this the face of CVC, and put our mission statement out on our website and our deck, and we were putting together a pitch, a business plan pitch for fundraising and doing our capital call, and we've just introduced this wonderful board to each other, and we're going to turn around a week later and say, game's changed, guys. But it's better for it to happen now, than 6 months down the road. So I don't know how to deal with that. So I may come back to you, Chris, outside of this forum.
I'd love to help any way I can.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm totally like thrown for a loop. I just, I'm a very trusting, Veronica and Aisha, I'm a very trusting person when it comes to business. I put a lot of my ideas out there for free, do a lot of pro bono consulting work, more than I should, including building.
I know that feeling, Mel.
And I think what happened is my partner got everything he needed to get himself back on track, and now has decided that he can go his route on his own. And I feel a little bit used,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's my story today. I don't really have a clear thing other than I will be something sometime soon.
Okay, well, hold those thoughts, and we will get either a little later in this session, or you and I offline, and it may be better if we do it offline.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Aisha, I'm sorry that we haven't formally introduced you yet, but you want to come on, introduce yourself, tell us about you, and what brought you here today?
Of course. So my name is Aisha. I'm probably the most novice of the bunch today. I'm still a student at Loyola University, so I'm a data science student. And the reason why I joined Startup Grind Columbia, which was probably like about a week or two ago, I joined. And so this is my first event that I'm attending. I've been exploring a little bit into the startup area, but because I'm so very new to all this, and because of the lack of local connections, like face-to-face meetings that I can do with others that are more experienced, I thought this is a great time to like really do my research, join the virtual meetings, and really hear from those who have gone that path, and really absorb all the wisdom and knowledge that I can get before I embark on, the startup path. I was told by a peer that don't spend too much time researching, you got to make sure that you are moving, because those who are moving or who start and keep on moving are better able to pivot, right? So I'm like, I've taken that advice. So I'm probably the very, very novice and the baby here. So I'm going to be all ears.
Okay. And guess what? You are just as important and just as welcome to this family as anybody else. So, matter of fact, you are probably more important than than say me. I'm a real old fart. I've been there, done that, have those battle scars, and to be able to work with young people like you and be able to teach you some of the things that people like Mel and I have gone through over the years. This is what we're all about. And that's a great segue into a couple of real brief announcements. And that is that I'm sure each of you are somewhat aware of Startup Grind. We are the largest global community of entrepreneurs. We have 3.5 million members in 650 plus chapters in 140 countries around the world. And our mission is to educate, inspire, and connect each other with the resources and the people that we need in our businesses and in our lives to help us become phenomenally successful businesses. And we live by 3 very simple core values. We're here to give first, not take. We're here to help others before we help ourselves. And we're here to make friendships, partnerships, and find ways to collaborate and build bigger pies instead of just practicing the typical networking, contact, business card exchange, and the zero-sum games. So that in 30 minutes or less is my 30-second elevator speech on Startup Grind. Now, this next week is going to be a big week, and I put in the chat box, probably the single biggest event is coming up February 23rd through the 25th, which is this Tuesday through Thursday, is our Startup Grind Global Conference. Now, this is obviously everything we're doing is virtual. So this is going to be a huge experiment, But when we have done it in person, they are out in Redwood City, California. And it literally is 3 days worth of all kinds of education, workshops, inspiration, big name speakers, etc. We're just moving it virtually this year. And this year it's going to be a 24-hour-a-day event for 3 days, because we're structuring it so that it spans all 18 or 20 different international time zones. So if you can't find something during a time that you would like to find it, you can go out on the agenda and you'll find it. You may have to stay up a little late, or you may have to get up a little early. But I've put the link to the event in the chat box. Please go out, take a look at it, go to the agenda, see who's speaking, pick the topics and the sessions that you'd like to attend, and we'd love to have you there. So that's that.
Chris, I don't see it in the chat box, even though I already have the link. Maybe I just can't see it, but I don't know if the other two can see it.
Why didn't?
Yeah, I don't see the link either.
And I've looked at it, so I would second what Chris said. Sign up. Go to
all right. Hold on. Let me ask you this. I'm putting in a quick test message. See if you guys can. Okay. See if you guys can see that.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Then
Yes.
What I'm going to do is to take this and recopy it and repost it. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay. So what we do once a month is we have what's called a Founders Forum, which is what today is all about. And today it's not about a formal program. It's not a webinar, seminar, workshop, etc. We're doing this to provide a forum and a platform for we entrepreneurs to come together in a very relaxed, informal, unstructured environment where we can let our hair down, relax a little bit, take a load off, and feel like we can be human for a couple of hours or however long it takes. Like I said, there's no structure. We can do just about anything we like. One of the things we do is just talk, get stuff off our shoulders, get it out to the rest of the group so that maybe there's an idea or a suggestion that someone has that may help you, and vice versa, that you may be able to provide to somebody else. We also, from time to time, offer demo days where anyone who wants to can join in and provide a very informal demonstration of whatever product or service or company that they're building. We have Q&A, etc. We can talk about pressing topics, pressing issues. If we can even help one another and support one another by sharing problems that we're having and talk about them, get them out in the open so that we're not sitting here inside our heads all the time, feeling like we're isolated and alone. And this is one of the ways that I have wanted to help connect, keep our community connected and make us more connected with one another. And so these founder forums are going to continue to evolve and morph and grow and change based on the particular needs of the group. I do try to keep everything small and manageable. I don't want to get more than 15 active participants in any one forum. Otherwise, it gets to be too big and you lose the intimacy and the interaction. So that's what today is all about. And all right, so we only have 3 people today. That's fine. This is not about putting numbers on the board. This is all about quality time and being able to communicate with one another. And if nobody has anything to say, that's fine. We can, we can end early, and no harm, no foul. But anyway, hopefully everybody at least is intrigued by the idea of what we're trying to do. And let's just take it from there. Now, Aisha, going back to what you were asking, and the fact that you're so new, how did you find out about our chapter?
That's actually a really great question. I do what, like, normally when I research about anything, I think I hit Google first, right?
Okay.
I was searching up, let me remember the exact terms I was searching up, like startup founder podcasts, startup mentors, those sort of keywords. And I came across Startup Grind. And I gave it a look and I was like, oh, this is probably what I'm looking for.
Okay.
And so I went through the website and I came across this event, and that's how I was able to, that's how I'm here today.
Okay. All right. Great.
Yeah.
Now, when you went to the startupgrind.com website, did you see a place where you can sign up for all of our newsletters and our mailing lists, etc.?
I may have, or I may not have.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I may have signed up already, or if I overlooked it.
Okay. Well, one suggestion that I have is to go back to the startupgrind.com website.
Okay.
And you'll find a place there where you can simply enter your name and email address, and that immediately gets you on the global mailing list for announcements, events, and that type of thing.
Okay.
And then you can go out and and because we're international, you can find every chapter around the world on our website.
Okay.
And you can go out and sign up for individual chapters and their newsletters if there are things that are of interest to you. In other words, we bring the world of entrepreneurship to you. And that may give you, and you would be linking yourself in closer to the world, the world's largest community of entrepreneurs. And there's no better way of making connections and getting educated and inspired than being connected to the largest global entrepreneurship community.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. I'll definitely do that. At the conclusion of today's Zoom meeting, I will go and sign up for the newsletters, just like you mentioned.
Okay. And I might suggest you check out the global conference.
Okay,
We're expecting up to 8,000 people to be to attend this conference over the 3 days. It's going to be a great place to see some very prominent entrepreneurs telling compelling stories, giving us education, but also gives you a way to begin connecting with others within the community.
Okay, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you.
So that being said, Mel, you and I are going to connect offline here. You let me know when it's most convenient for you, and I'll do my best to make as much time as is necessary.
It's up to you. I have time later this afternoon or Monday if you're free by any chance.
It would be today is busy for me.
Okay.
Monday would work. Would you like me to go ahead and send you a link to my calendar?
Yes,
and
please.
That way you can just pick the time on Monday, and we don't have to play calendar ping pong.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me make a note of that.
Okay.
I'll do that as soon as we're off here.
Thank you. Appreciate that very much.
Okay.
And can we get contact information? Like, I'd love to. I can't see Aisha or Veronica, but is it possible to get contact info? Because as I was mentioning earlier, my startup, no matter how it goes forward, loves to rely on bringing along young, brilliant people who like to do research, like to connect the dots and so forth. And Aisha being in the, in an information program at Loyola is interesting to me, because I'd like to link different universities together if I can. So I'd love to have contact.
Okay. So, if Aisha and I'm going to call you Dimitri because I can't remember your
Veronica.
first name, Veronica. If you could, in the chat area, put your name and your email address, contact information, and that way, after the event, I'll share the contacts with the three of you, and that way you can become a little more connected. That's a good. I'm glad you mentioned that.
I'd absolutely love to connect. So definitely.
Yes, of course. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Yes.
And I can see your contact information on this side, Mel, so we know what's going through. Okay, while we're doing that, what's on people's minds? What are you thinking about? What are you struggling with right now? What can we do to help?
I don't want to dominate this discussion. So.
Oh, well, Aisha, you're at Loyola.
Yeah.
Well, guess what? I'm a Loyola MBA alum.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing. We have we share no, that's not the right word to say. We have classes with the MBA students because I am in the master's program for the data science. So there are a couple of classes that we have the MBA students with us. So it's pretty neat.
Cool, cool. Well, it's nice to be able to make that connection. So right now, you should tell us a little bit about where you are in your studies, your education.
So I'm still in my first year at Loyola. I started this past fall. So right now for the beginning classes, we're doing the introduction to data science, we're doing Python, we're learning SAS and R right now, programming languages. And I think by next fall and over the summer, we're going to be doing like data mining, and because my program is set up where it's an intersection of both business and statistics and computer science. So so we're getting classes from all three of those disciplines, which is pretty cool. Like to make because and then towards the end of our program, I'll be responsible for doing a project for either a local or a national company. So I don't have the full details on that yet, but once I get closer to graduation, and I believe by this coming fall, I'll have more information on that. And it'd be great, like, to connect with anyone who has a company who needs me to do a project, data analysis, or anything within the data science. I'm more than happy to connect.
That's exactly what we're doing, right now with the University of Maryland teams. So we should stay in touch.
Yes, absolutely.
I am putting my email address and my LinkedIn address in the chat. I'd love to connect. Mel, I think you and I are connected.
I think so. Yeah.
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 I do have a quick question, if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So like I mentioned, I'm still like a lot in the brainstorming and the research stage. Do you suggest that, and Mel can feel free to chime in if, like, would you suggest that trying to seek a mentor at this point is a good idea, or what would you suggest the next steps be?
Okay, your first year in.
Mm-hmm.
You have what, at least another year or possibly 2 years to go?
That's correct.
Okay. I would not, my suggestion, given where you are right now, is don't worry too much about mentors right now.
Okay.
I would suggest that what you want to do is begin to get connected to the entrepreneurship ecosystem in our region. Okay.
Yes.
I'm sure Loyola, matter of fact, I know Loyola has like an entrepreneurs club. And I know all the major universities and schools do. We have a startup grind chapter that is focused on Baltimore, and you can go out and get involved with them. There are also a number of other incubators, accelerators, and co-working spaces that you could affiliate yourself with. And there are all kinds of opportunities to, to network and to get to know people. And I say that because that then gives you an entry point into a much broader piece of the ecosystem. And then from there, as you grow and evolve and decide what it is you would like to pursue, that will then help you narrow down who you would like to have as a mentor, and what skills and expertise that they would bring to the table. I'm just afraid that if you attempt to do that now, you're in a classic situation of you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
So, that having been said, I would take it a little easy, focus on your schools, but do try to take advantage of everything that you can get involved in this ecosystem. And I think one of the best ways to do so would be to talk to your advisors or the dean of the entrepreneurship program.
Okay.
And maybe get involved in the entrepreneurship club, because I know that the dean, as a matter of fact, there's a lady there her name is Wendy Bolger.
Okay.
Wendy is the director of the Loyola Incubator Lab.
Okay.
And Wendy and I are also part of the Maryland Business Innovation Association. And so we are connected with all the other incubators, accelerators, et cetera, in the state of Maryland.
Nice. Okay. Would you be able to connect me with her, or do you have?
Hold on just a second. Dara and Green Bounty, could you mute yourselves for right now? Thanks.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Aisha.
Yeah, I was asking, like, would you be able to introduce me to her, or would you have her contact information? I'm just afraid, like, if I just send her like an email out of the blue, she'll be like, well, okay, hold on, how did you get my information?
Let me do this. What I'm going to do is, Aisha, when I get off here, I'm gonna send you her contact information. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And then all you need to do is say, hey, Chris Howe with Startup Grind suggested I reach out. I'm interested in entrepreneurship. I'd like to know more about what you offer, and I'd like to
Mhm.
be more connected in the ecosystem. Okay.
Okay, that sounds very good. Thank you so, so much.
Okay. So we have two new people who joined. We have Dare. Hi, welcome. You're mute.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I got a wrong link, so apologies. I'm just joining this session.
Oh, that's not a problem. Where are you visiting us from?
I'm based in Nigeria at the moment,
Okay.
Lagos, Nigeria.
Okay. Are you in the Lagos area?
Yes, I'm in Lagos.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, welcome. We're thrilled you're here. And let's see.
Thank you.
Green County or Green Bounty. Who are we talking to there?
Hello, sir. This is Jay Aldridge, Green Bounty Caps. How you doing today?
Oh, hi, Jay. How are you? Good to see you again.
Good to see you. It's been a little while.
Yes, it has been. Welcome back.
Thanks. It's good to be back. Sorry, I got in a little late. Didn't mean to have my mic on.
Well, that's okay. Not a problem at all. That's what today is all about. Is we don't care about how many people we have on the call.
Sure.
We're here about providing a forum and an opportunity for we entrepreneurs to get together in a very informal, unstructured, relaxed environment where we can connect with one another, we can connect with like-minded people, we can help each other solve problems, we can share our fears, our stories, our issues. We can demonstrate our products and services if we want. We can structure each event just about any way that we would like. And that's the whole point of this is I don't want to do another webinar. I don't want to do another workshop. We do enough of those throughout the month. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so damn sick and tired of Zoom stuff. It's not funny. And what my goal is to help do my part to keep us connected. And it doesn't matter where in the world we are, which is one of the beauties I will say about the virtual world. This is an opportunity for us to come together as entrepreneurs and just connect, make new friends, help each other wherever we can. So that being said, Greg, tell us about you and your company.
Who would you like to go?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jay.
Very good. So Green Bounty Caps, we generate bountiful clean air power sustainably, which breaks down into GBC caps. And we do that through select plantings, floating islands, and some technology that'll come along where basically if you see an exhaust stack venting off the water vapor and you see an exhaust stack venting off exhaust from your burn on a combustion system for power, we're actually going to put a cap on that. That's the other part of what caps is to cap those two towers, connect them together, and then there'd be zero emission at a power station.
Okay, so you're focused right now on primarily the power generation industry?
Power generation and eco restoration.
Okay. And how long have you been working on this?
I've been kicking around some of the ideas for as much as 10 years, but it's all come together really strongly in the past year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
Had a lot more focus at it. And that was due to work climate being what it was and some things happening in the personal life that just drove me to understand that I need to do this and make it happen.
Well, you are speaking to my heart, because I'm a chemist, biologist, engineer, and scientist by degree, by
Awesome.
training.
Right.
And and my degree is literally in environmental science and engineering. And this was way back in the, I'm going to date myself here. Back in the early 70s, when the environment and environmental protection was going beyond the theoretical research that the EPA was doing.
Right.
And beginning to move it out of the lab and move it out of the research realm and into society to make a positive difference and begin to clean up the environment.
Sure.
And so I worked in that field for a number of years, and I decided I wanted to do something different, and that's a whole different story, okay?
That I understand.
But I still have a huge love for anything and everything that is the environment, environmental pollution control, resource recovery, circular economy, CO2 capture, anything that I can do in my small way to help clean up the environment and make a better world for us to live in, I'm all for it.
And that's exactly it. So everyone, no matter whether they believe climate change is real or not, or how it's happening or not, people want the planet to be safe, healthy in the long run. Everybody wants that for the most part. My focus is on, I look at vetiver grass very strongly right now as an anchor point for sediment erosion control. And then Midwest floating islands is someone I've been talking to. They take recycled plastic bottles and they turn it into a floating island that you can put out into the water anywhere. Even small little, whatever you have, a small pond in your backyard, you can put a floating island there and it creates habitat. And it filters the water through the action of the plants growing in there. That biomass and the mass of the island itself create a nutrient reduction point in the water.
Okay.
Can you do that in a moving creek? So here in Frederick.
Absolutely, yes.
Where are you from? Where are you located?
I'm in Maryland, so I'm close to Baltimore.
So you know Frederick, right? The city of Frederick, out in Frederick County.
Sorry, you broke up.
Are you familiar with?
I'm in actual Carroll County.
Yeah, so Frederick County, we have Carroll Creek.
Right.
Yeah. Middle of Frederick County. Can you do floating islands in Carroll Creek?
Absolutely, you can do floating island anywhere, nearly any size. So, nearly any size of water body. So I'm actually wanting to celebrate small victories with my company to start and to kind of get a brand out there. And a small victory for me is a small floating island. It's literally, this big around. It's a little disc. It's actually their plug when they cut the holes for the plantings. It's the plug that they have as their waste product that Midwest Floating Islands gives out as a business card. They'll put their flyer on it. They'll send out this little piece of plug as a business, promotion for them, what the material is. I actually want to take that little piece, which doesn't float by itself, put a little extra ballast on the bottom of it so it will, and then plant a little slip of the vetiver grass in it. Now you can plant this little slip anywhere you want, in a stream bed, in a little puddle next to your house, whatever it would take. And that small victory island then is the way to get into to start the conversation. Hey, celebrate your small victory. Little Johnny, little Sally graduated kindergarten. That's a huge victory for them. For you, it's a small victory too. Buy a little island. Would you like to buy an island?
Love it. I love it.
Jay, could you do us a favor? Could you put your contact information in the chat box? That way I can make sure that Mel and the rest of the group can get in touch with you and follow up.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. No problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I can definitely do that.
Okay. All right. There, you're up. Introduce yourself. Tell us about yourself.
You're muted.
You're muted.
Okay, sorry.
Here we go.
So yeah, my name again is Dare, and I'm based in Nigeria. And of course, you know a bit about Nigeria. We have over 200 million population that I believe it's an emerging market with huge potentials for retail and e-commerce. Unfortunately, we also live in a very low trust environment, and this is affecting various industries. And one of the key ones that indeed powers retail and e-commerce is the logistics market space. So what we found out is the logistic industry is completely broken. Even though the industry, the e-commerce is growing at a phenomenal rate, there's not enough assets to power that industry. Services or logistics services cannot be relied on. Most of the time, services are either delayed, merchants are frustrated, and some lose valuable customers because they can't deliver to promise. So we started building Deliman, a logistics marketplace, so completely asset free. And the whole idea is to try and adopt an Uber-like model. So our algorithm is basically like Uber, but this is Uber for logistics. And what we've done basically is to try and match delivery requests to delivery assets that are close to pickup locations. So pretty much what an Uber would do for passengers. So our algorithm allows us to do pickup within a matter of minutes, because we are also targeting logistic assets that are within proximity to a geofenced radius. Now with that, we guarantee early pickup, and obviously our mantra has been same-day delivery, something you can't find around. So we are hopefully the leading logistic platform that offers same-day delivery. And because we are asset-free, so we are also an aggregation model in a marketplace. So today, I think we have onboarded almost 1,000 logistic companies. And yeah, it's exciting, an exciting journey. We already have major B2B clients who are going into the e-commerce marketplace, including a unicorn that is a payment switching company in Nigeria. So our journey has been very exciting. There's a lot of work to do, but the plan basically is to also expand across major cities in Nigeria, and then try and see how we can grow into the African continent as well.
Okay. Now, do you have a particular size of customer, I guess logistics customer or end user of the company that you're targeting, or are you like truly like Uber? It doesn't matter what size you are, we're going to provide you with the same kind of service across the spectrum.
Yeah, very good question. I think today the use case for our service is across various industry verticals, whether it's a dry cleaner, restaurant, supermarket, fashion, hospital. I think anybody that sells stuff and wants to deliver priority and sensitive, time-sensitive packages will love our service. But we also found out that, so in that B2B space, there's a lot of targeted clients we're looking at. But also imagine that we're also appealing to individuals. Okay. Somebody leaves home in the morning and forgets his key at home, okay, on his way to work. How does he get that key back, get to the office without having to drive back home? Mm-hmm. All right, somebody is going to a party and then forget something back at home. How does he, get that stuff delivered and then get it right at the time he's getting to the party without going back home? Or somebody wants to pick his clothes from a dry cleaner, for example, and he can't get to the dry cleaner before they close, but he obviously can get the clothes picked up and delivered to his home, and then he gets it as soon as he gets home. So these are several customers who are targeted. But we've also seen that Nigeria is going through a very, a time in the industry where e-commerce is also growing. That's why you have the unicorns are trying to launch, e-commerce as well. So our target now, with the kind of interest we're seeing, is to also build integration tools to our delivery platform for even very small e-commerce companies, because most of them use free e-commerce tools like Weebly, like Wix, CS Cart, WooCommerce, and they may not have the technology capacity to integrate with our API. So we are building integration tools for them. And I also think that because of the pandemic, most of these small businesses, and of course the lockdown, they won't be able to open shops and sell like they used to do before. So we want to take them online. And taking them online means deploying an e-commerce platform for them, okay, but without the need for them to, own the technology knowledge to be able to deploy those platforms. So yeah, so we are also building integration tools for them.
Okay.
So the target is to get this kind of customers, whether they be small companies, for e-commerce, B2B, and even B2C customers.
I applaud you. I don't know a lot about the Nigerian economy or Nigerian business, but I do know there are certain things that are severely lacking in that region, one of which is a real strong, reliable logistics network. And I think what you're working on is, I think the sky, literally the sky's the limit for you guys. So congratulations. I'm glad things are progressing for you.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
And so, is there anybody have anything on their minds that they want to talk about? Any problems that you're experiencing? Any opportunities that you'd like to share? What are you struggling with? That's the purpose for these founder forums, is to get together and for us to help one another in some way.
About capital.
About capital. Okay. Tell us more.
So when, I'm a startup in both of my businesses. One of them is driven by consulting fees, but the other one definitely needs some startup working capital. So far, we do a lot of things as we're building this business kind of pro bono and utilizing, resources like researchers and from universities and things like that. But we really need to have a very small but compensated staff and some working capital to build on. Otherwise, people have to be engaged in other work in order to keep the lights on, and it makes it hard to focus on the business.
Okay, Mel, could you tell the group again, and I'm sorry, I don't want you to repeat everything, but tell us a little bit more about the new concept that you're bringing on, and what you're working on, what your goals are, and maybe that'll help spur some creative thinking on our end.
Okay. So Community Vision Collaborative, and I don't know if the name is going to change or not based on we're at the end of our first year putting this all together. And we are going through what I think many startups do, where there's kind of a come to Jesus moment with our partnership, and whether the two of us that have founded this are really moving in the same direction. And it appears that we're going at a V. So we still believe in social impact and doing good, we're a benefit LLC, which means that we have a social agenda, but we're for profit. And we're based on improving lives in communities on a local level. And my business partner is a lot more politically oriented in that way. And I'm much more on the grounds. How do we change communities through some of the things we're talking about, with Dare talking about, developing a logistic network. I mean, that's one of the things I'm grappling with CVC. We're using Frederick County and Frederick City as our test case community to look at how we can create a more effective and efficient online main street and marketplace. But we want to create a model, not just throw water at a problem and then move on to the next one. We want to be creating a model that can be moved around from community to community and scaled depending on what that community needs. So Aisha, for instance, our University of Maryland students, we have a cohort from the College of Information Studies and a cohort from the Smith School of Business looking at that project, phase 1 research, and the more technological students are looking at how the databases overlap, what exists here within the county and the city in terms of small businesses. We're really focusing on local small business. And how can our local small businesses compete effectively against Amazon? COVID showed us that when people were sequestering at home and needed to do their shopping, 9 times out of 10, they turned to Amazon and the big box stores because it was easier, they were more accessible, they could get the goods and things that they wanted quickly. We want people to think about doing business on a local level as much as possible. And so kind of turning, whether it's get food sourcing or retail or any of that, or even just finding your small trades, which is a dying part of communities too. So this project has bigger ramifications, throw the stone in the pond and it ripples out. But the beginning stage is to see what's here in a community. How is it working or not working? Does it overlap or not? And that's what the data based into the project is. And then the business school is going to be looking more at how it's serving the business community on a local level. And what we ultimately want to do is be a catalyst for keeping retail and commercial activity local when you can, sourcing locally when you can, and getting that information out to the end users, the consumers, that's easy and enjoyable for them, and that there's a real sense of Main Street, not just a computer, check the box, I want to buy this or that. And so so that's one project. If you look at another project, I want to create a model for replicable living learning centers that will have work for underserved youth, for instance, or underserved veterans, underserved minorities who can get retrained or get advanced job training, particularly in trades, and can live and work and learn and be community in the same kind of environment. And this community center is a concept, not a physical piece of real estate. It could be one building. Take the University of Vermont Living Learning Center, perfect example. Towers that you live in, connecting learning space and then connecting community space in the middle. Or you could take a city like Frederick, which is relatively small, and put your learning and living centers kind of around the community and existing buildings and connect them at the ground level with the retail, commercial, and restaurant uses that are there. And then bring in your underserved youth and have them, doing internships and apprenticeships and learning models in the existing businesses to keep it vibrant and vital. That all ties into tourism and trade, and it ties into the environmental issues, which is why I'm so I was an environmental planner from background in political science, so I'm all about green and a healthier environment and trees as being an important filter in a city, and urban farming being a provider and source for food, but also a way to keep the environment healthier. And it's also a way to create education pods within communities so that, we're not relying on sending kids into a brick and mortar location for 9 months out of the year. They can actually learn at the battlefields, history. They can learn at the airport, aeronautics and STEM. They can learn about the environment by putting little islands in the creek. And, we can control stormwater, and some of the things that impact us, all through really comprehensive, interrelated tapestries of interaction at a community level. So okay. That's it, kind of. Okay. My biggest challenge is to try to focus on something. I'm really spread out. So I'm a collaborator.
That was kind of going to be my first comment, and that is, it's wonderful to have this world-changing vision, but you got to start with something
Yeah.
small and prove it and then scale.
Yes.
So that was my first suggestion. And what I'd like to do is when we talk on Monday, let me give this a little thought over the weekend.
Okay.
Are you familiar with Patty Simonton at Bethesda Green?
No.
Okay. Patty, Bethesda Green is a, and Jay, I don't know if you're aware of Bethesda Green or not.
No, I haven't heard of them yet. Although I love Bethesda.
They're literally down in Bethesda, and
Sure.
they are a social impact focused on the environment and clean energy, that type of thing. It's an incubator.
Right.
And everybody's doing something within that sphere of the world. And I just mention that because Patty is a phenomenal individual, and she may have connections and ideas that I don't have. I consider her to be much more of a subject matter expert on her end of things than I ever could be.
You actually just gave me, you guys tell me, what do you think? You gave me a focus right there all of a sudden, because I'm all over the place. But my core, the core to me is the environment. I'm a tree hugger. I all that sort of stuff. And I almost can't get by a day without having to go hike, even if I have to drive 50 minutes to find a non-snowy parking place. But what I just got out of that, Chris, which was amazing, is that maybe what I should be creating with my company is an incubator type of. So here we have FITSI, that's our high-tech biotech incubator. Kathy Calambrati is on my board of advisors, blah, blah, blah. But we don't really have an incubator like what I think Bethesda Green might be, where we're creating the ability to have the requirement that the startups, it's an overreaching startup that helps startups that all have a tie through environmental impact in a community through the different things I just mentioned. If there's a common core, maybe that's the way to focus it all together.
That certainly is an interesting idea. And what I will do is connect you and Patty after the event, and you guys can begin a discussion and see where it leads. It may not lead anywhere, but at least there's one more person. And Jay, if you're interested, I will also connect you and Patty.
Yeah, absolutely.
If for nothing more, just having another connection, to help business development, that type of thing.
No, it's always about the connections and the network, and you never know where the next path is going to take you when you take the path least traveled. So I like the idea. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure that happens before the end of the day today. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
I just don't know, team here, how to focus. I mean, this is my biggest challenge, is that, and I've had this, this mirror put up at me frequently, that I'll hear something and it just gives me a zillion ideas. I'm an idea person. I'm a horrible implementer, terrible implementer. If I was a billionaire, I'd be a home run, but I don't have the money to support the ideas. I'd like to see everybody else.
And how do you focus? That's the worst part, isn't it?
Yeah.
One thing and run with it, focus. That's where I came out with the Small Victory Islands. That's my focus right now, to push that idea and push the green agenda. Using simple vetiver grass, which is really neat.
Yeah. You took your whole love of something and you simplified it down to a starting place. From there, you can expand. It's kind of like the aspen trees. They look like there are a million different trees, but it's all one organism.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, isn't it?
And I need to do the same thing. I need to find my root and then let the rest of this stuff come out of it. And
find your taproot.
And there are. Let me throw a couple of ideas out, Mel, which. I use when I work with clients, and I also when I work with people in Startup Grind and when I mentor. And there are a couple of exercises that I ask people to do. One, have you ever prepared a SWOT analysis on yourself?
No, what is that?
SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay.
And one of the ways that you can think about it is it's almost like a balance sheet for you. Many people think of it in terms of the business. Okay, what are our strengths? What are our weaknesses? And what are our opportunities and what are our threats? Well, the way they all interrelate is taking a look at, all right, what you're incredibly good at.
Okay.
And then on the weaknesses side, very simply, it's what do you suck at? Okay, I mean, there's no other way to put it but that. And then what happens is you can then begin to, as you move down and work on the opportunities, you can begin pulling from things like your strengths and your weaknesses and say, okay, if I'm not good at this, then, how can I change my weakness into a strength?
Okay.
And the other thing is, okay, here are the opportunities that I see, but what about the threats to me and my business? And is there a way that I might be able to turn one or more of those threats into an opportunity? And where I'm going with this is I find that it's an incredibly helpful tool for people to begin to take everything that's up here and at the very least get it down on paper in somewhat of an organized fashion that you can begin to look at and dissect and think about. And out of that are going to come data points. They're going to come insights that you may be able to use then to turn around and, oh, maybe I should be focusing on this because of these things. Okay. So that's one tool. And the second tool is what I call a perfect world analysis. Okay. Where what I ask you to envision what your perfect world would look like if you had all the skills, all the resources, all the capital, if you were lacking for nothing. Okay. What would that perfect world look like for Mel and for whatever business she wants to get into? Okay.
Yeah.
And then from there, that then becomes what I call a pie in the sky ideation exercise. Okay. That may pull some data points and some ideas of things that are going to be more important to you than others.
Okay.
And from once we have that perfect world, we can then begin to scale it back and say, okay, now what's the real world? Okay, what constraints are we under?
Okay.
What issues do we have that we have to think about? But at least this way, what we're doing is beginning to think about the final end game. Where do we really want to be? And what does that look like? And then what do we have to do to get there, given the constraints and the issues and the problems that we're faced with right now? Then looking at our options and saying, where can I either make the biggest impact, have the most financial success? What's the one thing or two things maximum that I can do that requires the smallest possible investment of time and energy and money to have the greatest impact? Now, that greatest impact may not be a whole heck of a lot right now, but that's okay, because what you're doing is you're proving your thesis that it's something that is needed and that you can scale.
Okay.
And
it's a foot in the door.
Foot in the door. Okay. And then from there, it's all about focus on what are the best opportunities. And then from there, as you develop that one or two core opportunities, and you have that incredible focus, new opportunities are going to begin to pop up that you'll be able to naturally and organically be able to migrate into because of all the work that you've done with your baseline product, service, etc.
Right.
Those are a couple of tools that I use with clients.
Very
The
good.
SWOT.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah, the SWOT kind of sounds like a self-analysis pain gain that you would do for a company evaluation proposition.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, that's where the whole concept of SWOT came from. I mean, it's been around for years, but it came
Right.
out of businesses doing a self-analysis.
Yeah.
And I've decided that I've had as much success. Yeah.
Freudian slip.
Yeah, more than Freudian. But
Busy during COVID, huh?
but I have found that especially it doesn't matter the size of the company because the company is the people. When all is said and done, the company is the people. And that's either at the C-suite level, that's at the ownership level, that's at the senior management team level.
Mm-hmm.
And not only should we do a SWOT analysis on the company, we should do a SWOT analysis on ourselves as people. Because so many times, even though the company may think they have these strengths and these weaknesses, they don't know each other well enough to be able to link, okay, well, if Jane has this weakness, Joe may have a strength that helps to offset Jane's weakness and vice versa. Or Jane has strengths that may help Steve's, weakness, etc. So it's an exercise, and it doesn't happen quickly. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's a way of helping to bring a clear understanding, intimate understanding of the team and how the team is with the business and how we can leverage individual assets, liabilities, opportunities, and threats to create a more dynamic, more powerful organization.
Nice.
That's nicely put. I mean, would you recommend, utilizing a third-party coach to help yourself through this process, or doing it on your own? I mean,
well, what I can, the problem first of all, when you get into an organization, to try to do this on one's own for the company and then try to do it for the team is an exercise in abject disaster. Okay, there's got to be a point of focus around which everybody can be operating off the same basic rules of the game. And I don't like to use the word game, but that's the only analogy I have right now. And it's that facilitator or that advisor or coach who then will be able to ask questions, guide conversations, create a common platform and a common frame of reference as best as possible that keeps everybody, one, civil with one another, two, focused on what the real end game is, because we all know we can be egotistical political people, and it's all about what's in it for me, and me, and not what's in it for we. And so a coach helps to eliminate that egotistical, geopolitical, whatever you want to call it, garbage. So now, if Mel, for you, a coach would be far more actively involved at the organizational level, but I still feel like a coach or a mentor of some kind would be good at more of the individual level. Here again, and the rule that I use is, if left to my own devices and if left to my own mind, there are going to be two things that happen. One, I'm going to screw it up royally. And two, because I screw it up royally, I'm going to be incredibly dangerous. And so when I say that, you know, we entrepreneurs have this mindset of infallibility.
Mm-mm. No.
Well,
No.
Jay, let me tell you, you are the rare exception. But you know, but we do have, even though we might not want to admit it, we either think that nobody else can do it as well as we can, or two, because I don't have all these various resources, I got to do it all myself.
Right.
The problem is that creates a paradigm where we're living inside of our own heads.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
And not reaching out to those who are going through similar experiences to provide feedback.
Which is why we come here.
Which is exactly why I put together these founder forums, is to do
Right.
exactly that, is to be able to get you and Mel and Dare and Aisha together to be able to bounce ideas and problems and issues off of one another. You know, Jay, you probably have a whole world of stuff you could teach Mel that I'd never be able to teach her. Okay, but if Mel is left to her own devices up here,
Oh, I get stuck right in there. Yeah.
Yeah. And you go round
you
and
know,
round and round and
you know,
round and round.
the same way
come up
with
with the wrong story.
the same way with Dare is going to have perspectives and ideas and thoughts that none of us are going to have.
Yeah.
And the only way that we get out of our own heads and get the help we need is by holding events like this.
So Mel, I was interested in what you're saying. It sounds like you want to create a virtual storefront situation for local business almost, that would almost mirror an existing stick and brick face for a downtown area or a local area, local marketplace. Does that sound about roughly
Yeah.
what you're
With the yes, but with the end game being that it's a magnet for localism.
Right,
So
right,
that-
exactly.
Yeah, so that when we have, and I, you know, this is so people can pivot better. So if you have a restaurant and you can only go to half capacity because we have another COVID or so forth, you can
Yeah.
manufacture your sauces or, you know,
Sure.
things like that. We
Or
build
source
many
your local produce for the restaurant.
Yeah, I
Meat,
mean, build many
protein, whatever.
entrepreneurs within businesses. You know, everybody should be have the ability to be creative in order to pivot and be successful. And we should be collaborating. That word, I love that word, collaborating. So
Yes.
that, you know, like Dare's talking about, you can use other local people to transport your goods to somewhere else, you know, to things that save you time and money, things that are not just a 1 + 2 = 3, but a 1 + 2 = 6, because there's all these other factors. Chris and I were talking about that earlier.
Right, okay.
But I, you know, again, I tend to find myself drifting, like this project of wanting to help. The whole motivation for me with this idea of what I call CVC Connect, which will end up being a combination of a computer model that will create a virtual Main Street, but also probably an app that a end user like me could use to access that virtual marketplace, maybe as big as you have holistic, you know, hologram type, you know, entry points into retail stores or tourism type activities, or it's just simply, you know, check the box, this is what I want to buy today, you know, depending what the user wants. That's
Right.
solely motivated by what I see happening in Frederick, because I live here and I see the empty storefronts, and I see what is a vibrant, beautiful downtown area with its music and art and outdoor, you know, environment kind of becoming, you know, wasteland because people couldn't stay open and weren't able to pivot well.
Right, sure.
It doesn't actually resonate with what's at the core of who I am, which is sort of the kind of stuff you're doing, you know, where ultimately I want to have an impact on a community through making it a better and more environmentally sound place to live. But I think it's all connected.
It is absolutely. So like,
Yeah, if I could, I'd like to ask Dare and Aisha chime in here. Any thoughts, any ideas, any comments that might help Jay or Mel or the rest of us?
Now, Buckminster Fuller. Oh yeah, my old model. I'm reading what you wrote, Jay. We have to talk.
There we go, Jared. I didn't want you to feel left out of the conversation because your input, thoughts, and ideas and insights are incredibly valuable.
Thank you very much. You know, so Chris, you did hit the nail on the head. You know, the whole idea of this, and that's why when I saw a Founders Forum, even though I'm based in Nigeria, I knew this was an opportunity for me to, you know, sort of like get into the minds of other founders, you know, and we're talking about the sharing of different cultures, hopefully the sharing of experiences. And of course, you know, there's the side of maybe there's something that somebody is doing in the startups that I will be able to benefit from. But also, I think that some of us come from, you know, different backgrounds, and we might bring those complementary skills and knowledge to help each other, which is what you referred to as the SWOT. So if I'm strong in one area, maybe I can help somebody who is weak, and then vice versa. I guess the point really for me is if the only thing we take out of these meetings is to get an opportunity to reassess our startups and then be confident to be able to either change or abandon all of our preconceived ideas. And this is the whole basis for pivoting. You know, some of us, and you did make that point, that some of us feel infallible. Maybe our idea is not the right idea, or maybe it's not the idea for the right time, or maybe, you know, and usually I can tell that we are so, you know, locked into our sometimes these ideas that you practically just shut the world outside. You don't want to take advice, you don't want to take suggestions, and some of us are going down the hill, or maybe going down the hill with just staying with these ideas, and we feel, oh, it's got to work. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you know, exchanging or getting the opportunity to discuss in forum like this may just help us to begin to think a little differently. And this is important for me because I want Deliman, our startup logistic company, to scale across Africa, for example. And it will be good to understand how e-commerce and logistics and even consumer behavior in other clients, you know, can define you know, a logistics business, or the entire industry for that matter. So one area that I will want to share experience, we've raised about a little over $300,000 in pre-seed. And this is us trying to tell a story before potential investors. And, you know, as a startup, so there's no valuation. Absolutely, we don't have figures. At the time we're raising pre-seed, we didn't have valuation, we didn't have revenue, but we were able to tell a very compelling story. And I just want to share that, you know, in trying to raise capital, especially when you don't have the figures to show to investors, I think you should be able to tell a very good story. This storytelling has made a lot of difference, you know, and I keep looking for how to tell a better story. And this comes basically from continually interacting with the kind of clients that we are targeting. So user interviews are very key, because you're building your product for an audience. You're not building a product for yourself, obviously. The more you talk to customers, the more they tell you the kind of the pain points and what they're expecting. And if you can craft that and turn that into some kind of story, when investors hear a story that you have built from interacting with who these end users are, it creates a far more compelling statement to the ears of investors. And I think that is the way we were able to raise this initial capital. I tell stories every day, and we should be confident to be able to talk about our business. And then, of course, the more you talk about it, the better you become at it. This is even before you get to a demo day. So this will be some of my initial comments, and I'm happy to also learn from some of your experiences.
That was very helpful.
Yeah. Dare you bring up some very interesting points. And that is that it almost doesn't matter what stage a company is in its evolutionary cycle. It really boils down to, I guess, 3 core human principles. The first is we as human beings love and can directly relate to stories, particularly personal stories. Okay. So your point there to storytelling is absolutely spot on. Okay. That's one of the keys, whether it's making a pitch to an investor or you're making a presentation to a client. It's creating that psychological and emotional connection that causes them to then take the following thought, and that is, I want to know more. And then there are 2 corollary thoughts, which are really kind of, as individuals, are a little self-serving. The first is, what's in it for me? When all is said and done, and you cut through all of the happy talk, we are all focused on, even though we might not want to admit it, we're all focused on, okay, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this? The second is, why should I care? And then finally, the third, in terms of effective communication, is using the concept of don't make me think. And being able to tell a compelling story, as Dare says, in a short and succinct manner that does a lot, that gives the listener, viewer, the ability to sit back and let things organically evolve and not have to critically think about it. And then answers the question, what's in it for them? That is kind of the 3 golden keys that I use when I do pitch and presentation coaching. And it's absolutely amazing how when some of my clients and some of those that I mentor are able to get to that point, all of a sudden, it's a completely different company. It's a completely different message. And you can begin to watch people's heads go, aha, I get it. I'm interested. Let's learn more.
Yep.
So very, very good input there, Dare. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
Isha, any thoughts? All right. Well, let's see. We have a latecomer, but better late than never. Vic, you want to say hi to the group and introduce yourself? Tell us a little about what you do.
Hi guys. Yeah, this is Victor. Sorry, guys, I joined so late. It was a late night, so didn't realize I passed the meeting start time. Anyways, I'm based out of San Jose, California, and I'm working on a user waitlist management problem. So, I mean, earlier last year, I had to visit emergency services here at my nearby hospital, where I had to wait almost 3 hours before it was my turn. I mean, first of all, it was my sickness, which was making me really unwell. And then this wait killed me. So every single second of that 3 hour, I kept thinking that, can I just go to a comfortable place of my preference and then arrive at the hospital when it's my turn? And with that thought, when I came back, I started exploring, because this was like, I have been in queues many times before in my life, but this time for some reason it stuck in my heart. And I decided to explore this problem and soon realized that the waiting or a queue problem is not just at hospitals or clinics. It is also all over around us. It is in your grocery stores over the weekend when you're lining up to pay your bills, or it could be your salon. It could be many other places, right? So, but the solutions which are available today, they are more targeted towards businesses, right? I mean, there are SMS-based wait lists, there are buzzer devices, there are remote wait lists, but the challenge with them is customers have no clue when will be their turn, right? Even though they are offering you a remote waitlist management, you still can receive an SMS in next 1 minute saying that, hey, it's your turn, arrive now. Or it could be another 1 hour. So I think the existing solutions are still not solving the pain point of a customer. So I'm working on a startup called CutQ, where we are trying to target this exact space of removing the waiting from the walk-in queue and simply allowing customers to find a local or nearby stores. It could be salon, oil change service, hospitals, doctors, grocery stores, anything, you name it. Just similar to Yelp directory listing. You can tap and check like what is the current wait time. Like there are 4 individuals in the queue, almost 27 minutes wait if you decide to join the queue. And if you decide to join the queue, then minute by minute, you will get a real-time refresh of information about, hey, now the wait time is this much. Since you stay 10 minutes away from the store, looking at the traffic condition, looks like you should start your journey now towards the restaurant or towards the salon or something. So this is the problem we are targeting. At this time, we are building MVP. I have 4 engineers working with me who are based out of India. So yeah, that's the problem space I'm targeting, and really happy to connect with you guys. I'm really feeling guilty to miss this initial part of discussion, but yeah, glad to connect with you guys at least now. So
don't apologize. We're glad that you made it for however long you could be here. And Vic, would you do us a favor? Put your name and your contact information and your company name in the chat. Dare would like, I hope I'm not misspeaking, Dare, but you'd like to possibly connect with him.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I did ask for the name of the startup as well.
Okay. All right.
Sounds a brilliant idea to me.
Great. Yeah, definitely. I'll go ahead and share my details in chat so that you can revisit it anytime.
Hey, Vic, have
Hi.
you, and I'm not trying to dumb down your concept because it's amazing. Have you spent any time, for instance, at Disney World, where they use a concept kind of like that for their restaurants and also their fast pass? I mean, they used to anyway, where you would know how, you get in a queue and you'd know how long you could be seated, and you could go out and do X number of other things within the, recreational community and still be able to get back to take your spot in queue.
Right. So I think, yeah, that's a great point to bring in. We did consider that situation. In fact, that was the inspiration to come up with this whole holistic infrastructure for other businesses. But when we try to dig deeper, even, I mean, not just Disney, right? A theme park in general, they are not doing a good job in estimation, right? Many times you will see a wait time of 53 minutes, even after joining the queue and 1 hour has passed. So that has happened to, I mean, when we explored, that has happened to many customers that on a busy day over a weekend or sometime, let's say a public holiday, the estimations, they don't work. So that is where I think we are trying to crack our brains and figure out how can we build this algorithm to make it more reliable.
That's a really
good
point.
That's like a great point. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's not accurate. You're correct, actually.
Right.
Not that
That's
I've been there in quite a while, but yeah. Huh.
Right.
Very cool.
Right.
Okay. Well, guys, we're getting down to close to the end of the formal session, and I want to be very respectful of everybody's time. Anybody have any closing thoughts, ideas, issues, anything? And one of the, and you don't have to answer this now, but my contact information is in the chat box. The thing I would love from you is feedback. Okay, was today or was the event like today helpful? What would you like to see out of future events that we have not offered or discussed right now? What would make your participation in these forums that much more valuable for you? And I am completely open to any and all suggestions and ideas. But I need your feedback because, like I said, if left to my own devices, I can go down paths that completely do not meet everybody's needs. Okay.
Yeah. So, Chris, thanks a lot again. You asked earlier, what are the challenges that we're facing? So I didn't have an opportunity to share my thoughts. Yeah, just very in few minutes. I've been a solo founder, and I wish I had a technical co-founder as well. But the point really is I could easily hire a CTO. Right now, our development work is outsourced. And of course, we can't do that forever because of, the IP needs to be protected. My question is, with limited resources, how do you attract the best people? Okay. So we got some pre-seed, but I'm also very mindful of how we spend money so that we know what our burn rate is, we know what our runway is. And it takes a while to raise money, especially if you're looking at seed round. We're not there yet. But there's this challenge of getting better traction with the right people, but then you are constrained with the amount of pre-seed that you have, and it's probably you're not able to attract the best in the industry. So my question really is, and I know we can talk about give somebody equity, right? But how do you find the right resources? Maybe there's a community, maybe it's somewhere outside there, but I certainly need help. I don't know if that connects with some other founders in this meeting. So with limited resources, how do you find the right people to at least help you get to the next milestone?
Let me share one thought. Are you aware that Startup Grind has a number of chapters in and around the Lagos area?
Yes, I saw one, and I think I joined one of them.
Okay. And granted, we're all in a virtual environment, but I would suggest that you get involved with that chapter and get active, because a lot of it is all about connecting with one another. And you're facing the classic startup dilemma, which is how do I find top-notch talent with little or nothing to give them? And the single most important thing that I've learned is it can't be about the compensation. As you so beautifully said, it's about telling a compelling story, telling a compelling mission, and sharing your vision of what you think your perfect world is going to be looking like. And the key to finding those people is being able to sell that person or those people on your vision and mission and your purpose, so that they become as fanatical and as passionate about it as you are. And when they buy into it at that psychological level, then opens the discussion about things like compensation, etc. But you have to put them, you have to guide them with your conversation and your story to a point where they can see what's in it for them long term. And you know, and I don't want to get into all the little weeds, because there are a number of ways that, you know, that things can be structured, equity and, you know, ownership, and, you know, but I don't know and understand the laws in the, you know, in Nigeria to be able to talk anywhere intelligently about it. But it's real. This is where you as a founder, and we all have to do, the single most important thing that we do is sell. Okay? We're either selling to customers, we're selling to vendors, we're selling to investors, or we're selling to potential employees. And what are we selling? We're selling our dream. We're selling our vision. And right now, that may be all you have, but guess what? You'll know. If you talk to enough people and ask for enough referrals, those referrals will get you to the right people who will buy into what you want to do and buy into your mission. And then begins that fluid conversation about what the future is going to look like between the two of you. That's one thing. That's something that I have been hitting myself with for a long period of time. So hope that helps a little bit.
Oh, certainly, it was very helpful for me. Many thanks, Chris.
Okay. So, guys, with that being said, I do want to be respectful of your time. And thank you so much for being on today's call. I don't know about you, but I got so much out of it. You guys taught me a lot. I heard some very interesting things in everything that you said. I'm hoping that you're going to be walking away from here feeling a little more educated, a little more inspired, and a little more connected. And if you are, then I think I've done my job today, and I can go to bed a happy man tonight. And I hope that you've enjoyed this environment enough that you'll come back and be a regular part of the group.
I like this stuff Mom gave me.
Dara, it was wonderful to hear from you. I love the idea, and Nigeria is definitely on my bucket list to visit.
Yeah, many thanks. What's the name? Because I see Green Bounty. Yeah.
Green Bounty Caps.
Okay, you're Jay. Yeah, you're Jay.
Yeah, his name is Jay Aldridge.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Jay. It's nice connecting with all of you guys. Jay, Mel, Vic. I think Aisha is not here today. And many thanks, Chris, for hosting us today.
Hey,
yes, that's absolutely fantastic. Thank you, Chris.
It's my pleasure. And the next one of these is coming up on March 12th.
Ah, perfect timing.
And because you guys registered for this event, you will now be getting our newsletters, etc. And so you'll be kept up to speed on everything that's going on.
Hold on, wait, Kate. Say hi.
Hi.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Hey.
This is the reason we do what we do, because the future generations are the most important things we have.
You got
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Have a great afternoon and a wonderful weekend. Take care, guys.
All
Thank you.
right.
Take care. Bye
Take
now.
care.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Take care.